know. I think they ready for me. I think they calling for me. I think they waiting for me.
What's up, everybody? How's everyone today? Welcome back to another episode of the Higgins Fitness and More Show. So listen, I may look like crazy. My eyes may look small. I'm not sick, but I have a headache that's pounding. So don't look at me like, I got some issue today. I mean, I got issues every day, but it ain't never nothing too big, too small that I ain't got to handle myself. So anyway, we're going to get into today's show. Today we got a bunch of follow-ups. We got a bunch of information for you guys. We got a bunch of new stuff coming at you. We are revving up for season 2, and everything is just lining up. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited. A lot of the groundwork is already taking place. But I guess let's get to, I think the reason why I get so excited about this because I know the meaning of the show. This isn't for me, just something to do or something to say, yeah, I have a show and I own some production rights and blah, 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 right? Yeah. No. I could be working a 9 to 5. I could be making pretty good dollars that I won't have to do a whole lot for, right? But I chose this. I left that and actually kind of chose me, and I just listened and am trying my best to be obedient, right? So that's why I do the show. That is my why, and we'll talk about the whys later on today in the show. Not too far off, okay? So, but like I said today, that's my why. My why is to help change people's lives. I've made the sacrifices more than some of you can know right now, but some of you at home know dang on well the sacrifices I'm making right now for you guys. But I'm gonna share 2 stories with you guys today as to my whys. All right, so this is what it all means to me, and everybody has to have their whys and all that good stuff, right? So here's mine. Here's one of mine. This is kind of a confirmation, a kind of checker for myself to keep going and to understand what my sacrifice is for the greater good, right? So here we go. So last week I talked about diabetes and high blood pressure and how living a plant-based life is healthy, and not only healthy, but basically, it's going to save our lives, prolong our lives, keep us here with our loved ones longer and all that good stuff, right? So, and just how we just don't need to be feeding into the Food and Drug Administration and the pharmaceuticals and all that, right? Because we give them a lot of money and keep them living a nice, healthy, and stress-free lifestyle while we're paying for it, or our loved ones are paying for it, or we're paying for it because of them and what they left behind and left us to deal with and all that. So anyway, kind of rambling on, but, again, this is all the greater good. This is all the purpose. So I received a message this week from one of our faithful viewers, Jeff Gonzalez. He's out in Phoenix, Arizona, by way of New Mexico. And I was actually sitting there and planning out some more of the shows and trying to get next week and next season together, right? And so sometimes we get a little frustrated. There's a lot of groundwork that goes behind this, but I received this message, and I think we have that, Jacob. First one, I'm going to share this, guys, with you. Let me see if I can turn this around, too. All right. And that's the first one. No, go to that one. That one says, so you're a true blessing in my life. My mom had a massive heart attack Wednesday night, and then I watched your show. Timing couldn't have been better. My mom is doing good now, and they are releasing her today. Guess what the doctor told her? That she needs to be on more plant-based diet. So I was hoping that you would give me a few websites and more hints, okay? Thank you for everything and having great timing, all right? So let me just tell y'all about the timing. I was going to do that show earlier in the season. I was going to do that show a few times, but there were certain things I just wasn't feeling about. And sometimes, I have my shows planned out, of course, but sometimes I leave room for those things that I'm feeling just in the air or pertinent at that moment, right? So that was one of those times, and I said, you know what? Now it's time to just do this, to do that specific episode. So, and a lot of things were going on that actually kept me, or was obstacles that were happening that I almost didn't even make it in the studio that day. So I just want to share that. And then the other one that said, the cool thing was, let's see here, mom's died. He said something about the doctors were coming in, and basically he knew already everything, that he had heard everything before. And the cool thing about this was that the doctors told her that she needed a plant-based diet. So he says, yeah, this one, he says, he ends it with this. She said, trust me, you almost got me to change my whole diet. I'm eating better because of you, but now things are a different story because of my mom. That show means a lot to me, and not about eating, but also shows some people can talk about it, but you are about everything you said. So, yeah, and so basically the doctors were telling him that, telling mom, no animal product. Plant-based and no animal products. And I said, again, so I don't just do these things just because, like, okay, yeah, that's what's going on now and that's what we should be doing, or it's the new fad. I was 350 when I started this journey, or at my heaviest weight. So it's a lot of crap I tried too along the way, but I didn't come to understand a whole lot of things until I got more involved into the fitness industry. And that's when I understood the plant-based living, right? So last week I also read off all of those diseases and illnesses that were cured, not just treated, but cured by a plant-based life. So there's another one to show you. And Jeff, we just hoping, sending all positive vibes out to you and your mom, and hope that you guys, recover and get things going and heal fast as you can. He's also going to make his mom watch the show and watch all the past shows as well. So that's a cool thing, right? So good job for that. Those types of things just make me feel like, okay, yeah, I'm doing exactly what I need to do. And it's not about me. You guys have to remember that most of the stuff we go through in life has nothing to do with us as individuals, okay? It's only to make us who we are, but we got to face up to it and go on with it, all right? So that was one, right? And the cool thing also, you guys, about the plant-based living and the doctor, what I really loved about the doctor is that the doctor said that they should be on a plant-based diet. We don't really hear that, or we're starting to hear that more. And the reason why a lot of the doctors are coming together, a lot of physicians, a lot of the people in the medical field are coming together because they're understanding that the plant-based healing is what is supposed to be. We are finally understanding that gap in between pharmaceutical and the pharmaceutical industry, and how the whole thing came about. I'm talking about the hospitals, why we have high bills and all of that good stuff. Like, 'cause you follow the dollar, you follow the chain, and it'll eventually lead you right to the why, right? It's always about the why, okay? So if we're in something trying to correct it, our whys typically should be from a holistic standpoint, all right? So this next one, you guys, this is an awesome update moving forward. And we're going to get into actually more of the political side of things in the next season involving healthcare, getting right involved with one of the field organizers for the Democratic Party in the state of Maryland. He'll be on the show coming up, and we'll be getting involved with him in the new season, trying to make a difference and try to see what we can do. Don't just talk about it. Like I said, we got to be about it, right? And I was trying to remember exactly how deep because he knows me at a very weird that period where I was transitioning from understanding that I needed to go into training and to start pursuing this, and being comfortable into corporate work and a steady check type of thing. So he's kind of want to help push me, give me that extra little push. So anyway, moving right along. The other thing, the next thing, another big one here. One of our guests we had on the show during the month of February, she was in via phone because she has a heart condition, right? So she is, we honored her for the Heart Disease Month, Women's Heart Health, and she is a survivor of heart disease. It came on with her when she was pregnant or giving birth to her child, her last child, her third child, so her last. Yeah, so we have Sharon Gilmore. I always want to go to her maiden name, but I respect it, Sharon Gilmore, right? Okay, so some of her story, if we can remember, we can recall the best we can here, and I know I'm gonna probably leave a lot out, but suffered heart disease as her daughter was born, went through it, and her daughter's like 8 or 9 now. She even had the LVAD implanted, which was an external device. She talked about that. Typically, people don't come off of that or then go to a heart transplant. So because her heart ended up recovering so much on the LVAD, they took her off the LVAD, but then they said, she had some other issues, and then it took her off of the being eligible for a heart transplant, right? So her family is in North Carolina. She's on now, great. So her family was in North Carolina and she's undergoing treatment there at the hospitals. Recently, they kind of got frustrated, couldn't find what to do. She got picked up by VCU. All right, so she's at VCU hospital now. She's gotten an artificial heart temporarily, but she has just been on or put on the new heart transplant list as an A1 so the highest. So she's right there. So she is back on the list, waiting for a new heart, and that news right there alone meant so much to her family. And she has 3 kids and a husband, and their whole lives have been changed by this. But she's one of the viewers. Someone I knew from the 7th grade, I think, just a survivor overall. And we sent her many, many more positive vibes from the show, from everybody, from everywhere we know, girl. We are just happy that you are in this process. You are still fighting, and you are still hanging in there and doing your thing. So we are appreciative of you as a viewer, as a friend, as everything, as a survivor. You are still doing it. Keep it going, all right? So, again, this is, part of my why. And, it brings you to, understanding, and then, the flip side of all of that. So, we have the health industry with, first with the heart disease, and now saying no animal product, right? And so it's awesome that we're now understanding what needs to happen in order to heal and to treat, or not to treat, but to cure disease, and how this thing affects everybody, not just one person, not just the person that's sick, but the entire family, people at jobs. People have to leave their jobs for that. People have to, sacrifice so much, be uncomfortable, stay here, borrow this, watch somebody, watch the kids, all of that, to go on, so that when our health is affected, right? So it's not just us. So we got to be a lot more selfless when it comes to that, okay? And understanding that we're not here just for us, right? All right. So again, with that, with her even being on a list, off the list, was classified as this. What is all this problem, all this talk, and why is it so political, right? And why even politics plays a part in all of this, right? So I want you guys to watch this video real quick on healthcare and kind of the history of health insurance. And we're going to talk about it real quick and see what we can get going, and see how we're gonna start this new season off and trying to be more active and not just talk about it, but to actually be about it, okay? Take a look.
The history of health insurance up until the 1940s. The reconstitution of the hospital is a term used by Starr, and I noticed that in our book, Morrissey quotes Starr quite a bit. But if you look back in history and look at the mid-1800s, hospitals were primarily religious and charitable organizations that tended to the sick rather than full-fledged medical institutions. Then in 1870 through about 1910, hospitals began to change, particularly with the founding of Johns Hopkins University. And hospitals then became the center of medical education and medical practice. As hospitals changed, their costs and overhead increased. At the turn of the century, in 1900, Roosevelt was president, and he was going through what's referred to as the progressive era. And so what had happened is, big business, or during this industrial revolution, companies had gotten very monopolistic, so he had antitrust enforcements that he had to break up some of these companies, including manufacturing, transportation, some of the big oil companies. States were also dealing with the fallout of the Industrial Revolution. They were shortening work weeks and limiting child labor and controlling workplace injuries. And so what was happening was that employees were getting injured on the job. The company was blaming the employee and was kind of left out in the cold. And this is what led to workers' compensation insurance. Between 1910 and 1915, some 32 states enacted workers' compensation laws. And under these laws, employers accepted full liability for workplace injuries. In exchange, they were able to buy insurance coverage through the states. In the beginning, the American Medical Association supported workers' compensation laws because the physicians felt that the patients would get injured and then come to them for treatment. But in reality, some of the companies would retain their own doctor or hire a doctor and treat their employees, thus leaving the physicians out in the cold who previously had these patients. So the AMA reversed their decision about 5 years later and said, no, this violates doctor-patient relationships. So at this point, we've seen a change in the hospital structure. We've seen a change in big business with the Industrial Revolution, some of the companies being broken up and having to provide workers' compensation insurance. And now, to make matters worse, the country has a Great Depression in 1929. But the Depression was a catalyst for present-day insurance, because what happened was hospitals they were not making the revenue that they needed to, so they had to figure out a way to pay for insurance and to pay for these hospital bills. And so a gentleman named Justin Kimball, the administrator of Baylor University, devised a means to pay for hospital care. So what he did was he enrolled 1,250 Dallas public school teachers into what he called the Baylor Plan, and each one of those individuals paid 50 cents a month with a promise to be provided 21 days of care in the hospital. The Baylor Plan spread rapidly among hospitals, and the American Hospital Association quickly grasped the plan and later on developed the AHA Blue Cross Commission in 1946. What also fueled Blue Cross Blue Shield is that the plans were all nonprofit. They covered hospital charges only and allowed for a free choice of physician. Therefore, guess whose support you have? The American Medical Association. And also, they had exclusive geographic market areas. And even today, Blue Cross has some exclusive markets. Another important event, which kind of lays the groundwork for health maintenance organizations, or HMOs, was in 1933, Dr. Sidney Garfield established the Kaiser Foundation. And what was different about it is he was paying physicians a salary, and this caused a big uproar with the AMA because it disrupted their sliding fee scale and therefore cut into their profits. Well, later on, the conflict was resolved once the federal government stepped in and enforced the Sherman Antitrust Act. Sadly, the Kaiser Foundation and other health organizations at that time that were paying salaried physicians struggled for almost 10 years until the Supreme Court held against the AMA in 1943. As I mentioned before, the AMA supported the hospital plans established by the Blue Cross because they were allowed to pick the physician and choose their physician. The next segment or presentation for Chapter 1 will deal with some of the changes that happened with World War II in 1941, and we'll talk a little bit about price controls, how organized labor became a bigger player, overall as far as getting more insurance, and then some of the tax structure and federal tax codes that changed during that time frame.
2, 1. What's back? Okay, what's back? Welcome back, I mean. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, what is that about? Trying to read something, press the camera around, and figure out what I was about to say all at the same time. That's what that was. Live. That just happened. Anyway. So as we heard, right? So anytime we follow the dollar, you see how everything started off like all nice and cool, like it started off volunteers and charitable causes and, you know, religious organizations taking care of people, and then it always turns into the dollar and always following the dollar. And how do we do this? And how do we take care of that? All this big old industry made for the dollar. That's what's wrong with this end. But I love the fact that now we're at this point, we're at this very pivotal point with our healthcare industry in the U.S. Because we're at that point where we're realizing the plant-based living is the way to go. It is because it is healing. You know, it is something that is of the earth. We are of the earth, right? And all that good stuff, right? So, and that we don't need it. But longevity, we're not living as long as we used to. You know, it's written in history, you know, historically. It's written in history. It's right there. I'm not lying. It's not just about me, like I said. But listen up. So, you guys know that I preach this plant-based living for a reason. But listen, we're about to have some fun with it this season. And actually, all of next season, we're going to have fun with it because we'll have one each month, right? But so listen, this first one we're going to kick off. New segment to the show called Vegans Eat. Vegans Eat will feature a new restaurant or lounge restaurant area that serves vegan food or is rolling out a vegan menu or is solely plant-based, right? And we are going to explore them. We are going to test the waters. We're going to see what's going on. I had the opportunity on Tuesday of this week to visit the first one. It's going down at Infuse Restaurant. It will be on October 19th at 7 p.m. It's going to be a fun night. I mean, oh my gosh. Let me just stop talking about it. Let me show you guys a little bit of what I'm talking about. So I went to the tasting. First thing we had here was the, let me turn this camera around too. So first thing we had there was the vegan fish and chips. Let me tell you, those potatoes were so freaking awesome. They had the homemade marmalade sauce there. And so, yeah, it was 4 of those that were vegan shrimp on that plate, but I ate one real quick before I took the picture. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was hungry too. I just come from the gym. It was crazy good. So yeah, that was some of the food truck items. And then we had this salad had like you couldn't really tell. The picture doesn't do it all justice because underneath is like a brown rice mix or this rice mix that had like brown rice, black rice, quinoa, some other stuff in it. It had kale, had like cilantro and like tomatoes and onions, and that's vegan cheese, of course, on top. It was and it had Brussels sprouts in it. And I'm not even a big fan of Brussels sprouts, but dude, it had Brussels sprouts in it and calls it his like powerhouse salad or something like that. So I could totally see myself ordering that like for lunch, definitely. And then yeah, that was an awesome shot of the vegan fish and chips. I think that was like my favorite, like that I would get from a food truck if I was out somewhere. Yeah, like I probably wouldn't make that at home, but yeah, I definitely pick that up. So then the Beyond Burger, super awesome. The way he seasoned it and everything. Those chips down there are his house chips. They're made from potatoes and carrots, and it was a nice blend that. Yeah, it was just really awesome. Those were. And then, yes, the bratwurst with those onions and peppers and, yeah. And he had this, I don't think it's not in the picture, but this spicy mustard sauce, man. I'm telling you, right? Okay, so that was just some of the food truck items, but they will be there. Ooh, excuse me. They will be there on the menu. The actual night out will be buffet style, so you'll get a chance to try a little bit of everything. Those are, like I said, so the food truck items will be served as appetizers, okay? So he's going to go in there and do it like that. And then he still got his dinner menu, right? So his stuff like the vegan lasagna, the big dishes, and all of that good stuff. So we are going to have a fun night. There'll be a DJ and everything. We got some prizes, some giveaways also. The tickets will go on sale next week at the latest. I'm trying to tie in some things about entertainment, to further entertainment. There will be definitely a DJ anyway, so we're not going to worry about that. But, yeah, just some more stuff. We got the games. We got some prizes, some giveaways. And we are going to have a good night around plant-based living, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that, right? So I can't wait. It's going to be super awesome. You guys better be there. Everybody better be there. Well, not everybody, but a good amount of people. The whole world, no. But if you want to be down, get in on the first one from the ground up, definitely. Vegans Eat goes down October 19th. Save the date, put your little coins to the side. Next week, we will have the link for you to start getting those tickets. We got some prizes for the first 10 people that get your ticket. We got some prizes for the 50th ticket, okay, and so forth. We'll bring all that good stuff in more detail next week with the link for you to purchase, okay, for the first Vegans Eat. All right, super, super excited about that. All right, so we're about to wrap up here on a mental note first, okay? So here's the thing, guys. When we always talk about, like I said at the beginning of the show, the why we do something and the history of stuff and following the dollar, but necessarily following, not necessarily the dollar so much, but in life too, then following the reasons why. Sometimes it's in the dollar too. But, I'm not going to get into all that. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story and a whole nother show. But I do want you guys to try. Here's a technique that you can apply to your own life, okay? It's called the 5 whys. A lot of times we know that if you ask somebody why, it's one thing, but if you keep asking them, sometimes it seems to have a different aspect or a different answer. Or if you ever really use it and seen it work, if you ask somebody about a third or fourth why, they're so pissed off and irritated that you don't even have to ask the 5th one. They just say it so you can stop asking them why, right? So here's the thing with that technique. Like I said, you got to look at the why, right? The why tells you all about who you are. If it's for yourself, it'll tell you all about who a company is. A lot of companies are starting to use this model. Actually, Apple used it. They do the why and do the outside in, right? Or inside out method kind of to it, right? So actually, this method, the 5 whys, was actually a method used by a Japanese industrial revolutionary dude named Sakachi Toyota. Yeah, this technique was actually done in the 1930s, okay? So he kind of did this thing to figure out, why things happen. Well, not more so why things happen, but the relationship. So listen to this. The 5 whys is kind of like an interrogative technique used to explore the cause and effect of relationships underlying a particular problem. The primary goal of the technique is to determine the root cause of a defect or a problem, repeating the question why. So this is used to find the root cause of a defect. Listen, as to the reason why, right? So each form bases to the next question. The 5 whys is the number that they use that typically determines it gets to that actual point. Okay? But listen, it says this as well. Not all problems have a single root cause. If one wishes to uncover multiple root causes, the method must be repeated, asking the different sequence of the question at different times. All right? But the method provides no hard or fast rules about what lines of questions to explore. Only how long to continue to search and additional root causes, right? So thus, basically, even when the method is closely followed, the outcome still depends upon the knowledge and persistence of the people involved, right? So what I'm saying is, yes, ask yourself why. Find out your why. But if you are still not to a point where you're ready to examine your why, it will still cause you to be or to have a root problem. Okay, the root cause will still be there. Something will not work efficiently for you. Okay, whether it's in your life, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your health. A lot of us, we say, well, I've been doing this way for a long time. I've been eating this way for a long time. I've been not working out this way for a long time. Or I only been walking to, the store, to the mall, or I do this exercise routine this way and it's worked for me, but you're still having health problems. You're still doing, it's still not living a healthy lifestyle, whether it's physically or mentally, or emotionally, any of that. Okay. So my challenge to you all out there, everywhere, is to start with your why. Research your why. Before you look at anybody else or anything else, research your why. Know it, examine it, and figure it out for yourself. If you like that why, and that why is good and strong for you and you believe in it, then keep on keeping on, all right? If you don't, take an opportunity to grow, okay? Again, it's up to you guys. Y'all already know. I just tell it like I said. Tell it like it's been proven to me in my life. I'm just trying to share a little word, right? Y'all take it. Y'all do what y'all need to with it. Apply it to your own. I hope that it helps, though, for real. All right, y'all? Peace till next week. See y'all. I'm out.
One, two, 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 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3,